Hello, this is Shankar from System Based Labs. Now let's move into the area where most audits are actually lost: change and drift. Let's start with change control. In real systems, change is constant. System updates, configuration changes, model updates, data pipeline changes. Now the question is not, did you make a change? The question is, did you control the change? So we follow a structured approach. First, change control. Every change must be documented, reviewed, approved. We clearly define what is changing, why it is changing, and who approved it. Now comes the most critical step: impact assessment. We ask, what does this change affect? Does it impact data flow, model input, model behavior, clinical workflow? Now, based on this, we define validation scope. Do we test everything, or do we test only impacted areas? If impact is high, row full validation. If impact is limited, row scope validation. Now let me show you a real failure. A model was deployed for clinical imaging. It was validated. IQ, OQ, PQ completed. Then a change occurred. Image preprocessing was modified. The team assumed low risk. Impact assessment was weak. Validation scope was minimal. No performance comparison was done. Now during audited asked, what was the impact of this change on model performance? Silence. Because no evidence existed, no comparison, no traceability. This is a failure. Now the correct approach: change documented, impact assessed, model input identified as critical, validation scope defined properly, performance testing executed, pre-change versus post-change comparison done, traceability updated. Now the system is controlled. Now let's move to something more dangerous: drift. Here, no change occurs, but the system still degrades. Why? Because data changes, new devices, new populations, new patterns. Now, if there is no monitoring, you will not see it. Let me show you another failure. System validated, strong performance. Over time, performance drops. No monitoring. Shower question. Show performance over time, no answer. This is drift failure. Now the correct approach. We define monitoring strategy. We track sensitivity, specificity, and prediction trends, data distribution. We establish baselines. Then we monitor continuously. When deviation occurs, we detect drift and we trigger revalidation. Now understand this clearly. Change control handles known risk. Monitoring handles unknown risk. Both are required. In this session, we covered the change control lifecycle: document, review, and approve. We discussed impact assessment, what changed, what is affected, and the risk level. We looked at validation scope definition, contrasting full versus partial revalidation. We reviewed revalidation execution and how to handle traceability updates. Our case study highlighted change failure when preprocessing impacts are missed. We explored model drift, covering data evolution and silent failures. We defined a monitoring strategy using metrics, baselines, and tracking over time. We covered drift detection and the triggers for revalidation. Finally, we discussed audit responses and the known versus unknown risk framework. This is Shankar from System Based Labs. See you in the next training session. Good luck and goodbye.